Welcome to Sevedge Sessions. I have the coolest updates for you today, and I have some really neat stuff to pick up off of from last episode. But first and foremost, the neat things. So we went to Breckenridge from this Monday to today. We just got back today, took a shower, shaved some, got ready to record on the camera. And then I noticed something really neat. So while we were gone, I weighed myself. And for those of you that have been following me, the past I'd say 4 to 5 weeks has been hardcore trying to get in better shape. And it's been an absolute nightmare, right? The start of the process was I was eating better. I was cooking food at home, but turned out I was eating these burger patties that I thought were great for me that had tons of fat that ended up setting me back. So even though the intent was there, I was being held back. It fucking sucked. But then fast forward some, hired a physique coach, fixed these things, right? Shows you the power of mentorship. But I went away for a bit, right? I didn't go to the gym any this week. I didn't have a dedicated diet plan to follow. All I knew was, okay, I just need to be mindful of what I'm eating, right? Because this is what my coach told me. Be mindful of what you're eating, aim for high protein, and just eat till you're about 80% full. So I've been sitting at about 210. It's been hard for me to break since 210. I came back this week and I was at 207. Massive. How the fuck did I lose this weight, right? And this shows the power of mentorship as a whole. The entire purpose of me having this podcast is to be able to provide the mentorship needed to give the different perspectives on how to view something. So in the book Mastery by Robert Greene, he talks about this. He talks about there's a 10,000 hour rule. For you to become a master at something, it's going to take you 10,000 hours. So he said there's only a couple ways to cut that down, right? So most people will actually end up taking potentially 13,000, depending on how good they are at what they're actually doing. But he said the only shortcut you could have to get where you want to go faster, there's only one thing. And I want you to take a moment to think about that if you're listening. What is the one thing that can help you expedite the process? And he said that based on everything, the one thing that you could do to expedite this process and maybe knock off 1,000 hours, maybe 1,000 hours. And he said, finding a great mentor. That's all it's about. And I view this podcast as that aspect. And I'm even going to talk about today what I'm focusing on, because one of my goals is for every student at Devslopes, for myself, for employees, for everybody, I want them to always have something they're focusing on. And it's a weird mentality, because the mentality is this: you're never good enough. But that's okay. That's the process of mastery. I'm never good enough because I'm always a piece of work in I'm a piece of something in development. There's never an end goal. I'm always going to be in some state of evolution. So for myself, the past 6 weeks has been learning how to become comfortable on camera. The Nathan that you see today, and I'm looking at Connor because he's made so much fucking social content from us since when he started with me at 15. I was terrified to go on social media. In fact, right, if y'all want to have a little bit of fun fact, email Connor, Connor at devslopes.com, and ask him for the TikToks of me dancing. I was so uncomfortable on camera. It was the worst thing in the world. He showed my girlfriend it the other day, and he's like, look at this nerd. And I actually opened up my TikTok feed the other day. There was videos there, and she looked at it, and she was like, oh my God, that was terrible. I said, I know. Anything to get views. So this is what the process is like. I've been working so hard for the past 6 weeks to try to get comfortable on camera. This is one of the reasons why I don't even have Bruce here today, right? This is why I'm doing this more often, to get more comfortable speaking with y'all. And this is the process that we all have to acknowledge. Whether it's learning how to write code, work in sales, do marketing, we have to practice. So examples of that I did when I was starting off in sales, I would go in the shower and I would practice selling stuff to myself. So I might start off practicing selling myself some shampoo and think, okay, how am I supposed to sell somebody shampoo? Hey, Nathan, I saw there that I went to your bathroom and you didn't have any shampoo. Would you need some shampoo? It started off as simple as that. Then it started getting more and more sophisticated. Hey, Nathan, I noticed that you love to smell coconut. I noticed that you have to be really careful about the different shampoos you could use. I just got this other one that's completely natural. There's nothing else in it, and it smells amazing. Do you want to try a sample of it? I think you might love it. They try a sample. Fantastic. Hey, I got this idea. How about I ship it to you every month or so? You pay like $20 and we got it solved. It slowly evolved more and more while getting comfortable. The same thing with marketing. Whenever you're getting started with marketing, the way you gain experience is by writing ad copy over and over and over again and learning how to refine what you're saying. This is the process to mastery. So I want to recap something. The last episode, we talked about the audiences of who this podcast is for. We said, number one, it's for people who are starting off in the process. They haven't necessarily started. And what we're going to summarize this is under one principle: people who have not put in 250 hours of work into their craft. So let's give a little bit of context. 250 hours is what we have found the data point that determines if you're ready to go get freelance work or not. So whatever you're doing to start off with, you need to put 250 hours in before you're ready to take other people's money and do work for them. It's a great principle. Now, after that, you're ready to go get some freelance work, okay? So for between hours 250 and 500, because 500 is the next milestone mark. That is your opportunity to go get freelance work, continue learning, and to gain some professional experience. Now, at the 500-hour mark, that's where things start getting fun. This is going to take most people about 8 to 10 months, and that's when you're ready for your first job, right? So in Devslopes, for example, the Web Academy, that's when you're ready for a React or a JavaScript job. That's where things start getting really exciting for you. So what we want to do, hit the 250-hour rule, hit the 500-hour rule, and then finally the 750-hour rule. And this is where we see things starting to take a little bit more. So once you hit the 750-hour rule, that's when you start gaining a little bit of mastery. You're probably going to be a full stack developer by then, and you're ready for some really high quality jobs. Sorry, my stomach or my throat was bothering me there. And this is where things start getting really interesting. And I want to keep reiterating this over and over and over again on every single episode. 250, 500, 750. If we wake up every single day and we're focused on that, we can get to where we need to go. And in addition, I'm mostly recording this podcast for the students that are actually inside Devslopes. So what you need to do along this process is you're going to find your mentor. You're going to be starting this process. You're going to get stuck. Reach out to them. Ask for that help. And understand that this process, although extremely difficult and frustrating, it's the process to creating the life we've always wanted. I had somebody reach out to me the other day about a student who was struggling, and it was really disappointing because he said that he was going through one of the curriculums that we had, and he said, I just don't think it's practical. I need a better opportunity to help me elevate and go where I need to. And it's a really common trend that I see, right? So we have people that try to find the silver bullet to jump past these 250, 500, and 750 hours, right? So what they'll typically do, and tell me if this is the thing that you do, they'll join programs and they'll treat it like it's just a book that you need to consume. It's a course you just need to watch and that's all you need to do, right? It's just like buying a fitness program but never following through with it, right? You accomplish nothing, but you made an investment. So what this student was doing is he joined the program and he just went straight to the freelance curriculum and clicked next, 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 went all the way through it. He vaguely watched it and he said, this isn't going to help me get anywhere. And so I was sitting there speaking with our empowerment specialist. I said, yeah, this is a common behavior, because what this behavior is it's somebody who's really stressed out and they're in a place where they feel like they really need to get to a better spot in life. But the reality is, unless you put in those 250 hours and then you invest the additional time in going out and getting freelance work, it's just not going to work. And that's what I want this podcast to be, the additional thing to support you in those hours, right? When we're not actively practicing, when we're in our daily life, maybe we're going to the office, going to the grocery store, we're going to the gym, we're going for a walk around the neighborhood, play this podcast and let it be the North Star for you on how you get to where you want to go. So this student, one of the things I told Sean, who's our empowerment specialist, I was like, okay, this is what we need to do. It is our job to do what we can to support this student. But at the end of the day, we cannot take the actions for them. So what we need to do is show them that we do care. We're going to step in there. We're going to help them out as much as we can. But at the end of the day, he has to put that time in. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to make some actionable steps. We're going to help him feel a little bit more control of his life. So we're going to start with something simple. First off, is he in HTML and CSS? Okay, he is. Great. Did he graduate through Module 5? Let's say yes. Okay, so student graduated through Module 5, and he's ready to go get freelance work. So this is what we're going to do. And this has been the tactical guide to having success. So step number one, between today and 2 days from now, when you come check in with me on our next call, I want you to go create your Upwork profile, create a bio, put your projects in from the program so far inside your Upwork, and that's it. I just want you to show up in 2 days with all of that done. Cool. Shows up in 2 days, all of that's done. Next, between now and next Friday, every single day, I want you to submit at least 2 proposals per day, potentially 5. If you can get to 5, perfect. 2 is the goal, though. So we have our goal and our stretch goal. So if you feel great on a day, do 5. If you feel blah, just do 2. And what we see is this is how we build momentum, right? The Nathan that you're seeing today is, I was a shell of myself. I feel like 6 to 8 months ago, like a complete shell. I would have been incredibly intimidated to be on a camera, right? But through exposure and consistency, regardless of how I felt or not, it made a massive impact. And now I feel comfortable talking with my hands, actually being more of myself on the camera. That's what all of this is about. So we have to find the ways to build these habits and to have success, because I can give you the perfect tactical guide to go out and do what you need to. But if you don't have the ability to really implement, it's never going to get there. Because at the end of the day, the 250 is the independent variable on your success. So let's backtrack some. You're thinking to yourself, how am I going to go out and get my first freelance project? Let me give you a little bit of tactical advice. This is exactly what you're going to do. So after we get our Upwork profile built, and we're building this for somebody who's brand new to freelancing. You've never gotten a freelance project. You're trying to get your first one. And I'm going to make this for a couple categories. This is going to be for your first freelance project. I'm anticipating this project is going to be worth about $250 for the build, right? So the goal here is, number one, we want to find somebody that needs a website built. And the person that we're looking to work with is somebody that has stuff going on. They maybe feel a little overwhelmed. And so what you need to do is to be able to go in there and say, hey, listen, I'm going to take this off your back, Steve. I don't want you worrying about this. And it seems like you have a lot on your plate. Am I right with that suggestion? They're going to say, yes. I'm having to worry about finance. I'm having to worry about paying employees. I have to worry about new clients coming in. How am I supposed to get them booked? What am I supposed to do? This website's out of date and things are just crazy. Okay, perfect. Got it. I understand. It seems like you're really frustrated and that this has been an absolute burden for you. This is what I want to do, Steve. What I want to do is I want to charge you about $250. This would typically charge about $1,000 to $1,500. But because I'm newer to this, I want to charge you $250. And what I want to do is to go in and completely build the entire site out exactly like the so-and-so website that you told me about. And then I'm going to do that for you. Then afterwards, if you like it, what I want to do is take it off your plate completely and charge you $100 a month for us to partner and work together. And I'll be your technical partner. That's what I want to be a specialty in, right? I want you to come to me when you need something done on the site and you can't deal with it. I want you to feel like you're not alone in this process. And that's what my specialty is as a software engineer and as your tech guy. And what's really neat about that is you're positioning them realistically as their partner. It's your job to go in there and help them out as much as you can. And that's where we see this concept. I teach this in the program, this blue ocean strategy come out. Because how are you going to compete from people from Pakistan and India and all these other areas when they charge $5 an hour and you're trying to charge $15 to $30, right? The way you do that is through relationship, showing them that they can trust you. And here's a really strong tactical guide. When we're getting those first projects, and again, the demographic we're looking for, people who are business owners or they're entrepreneurs with a full-time job on the side, or they have a full-time job and this is their side project. They do not have the time to worry about the technical stuff. They want to put that off on somebody else, which is you. So you're going to step in here as the technical partner for somebody who has a lot on their plate and they don't want to build a Squarespace website, a WordSpace or a WordPress website, or a Wix website. They don't want to do that. You're going to do that for them. That's step one. That's the big unique selling point. Step two is they're going to need somebody to do this on a regular basis. And what you want to do is charge a lot lower on the front end. In some circumstances, I would say maybe charge a $250 fee, a quarter of it up front and the rest when it's delivered. And the important factor here that I've seen is a lot of people make a mistake is when they're working on the project, they do a terrible job with communication. So along this way, It's really important that you keep communication there. Hey, Steve, I'm going to have a check-in with you every single Thursday, 6 p.m. How does that sound? Perfect. We're good. Then on top of that, you have my email. Shoot me an email if you got any questions. Can't guarantee I'm going to respond immediately, but I'll for sure try to get to you by the end of the business day, if not the next one. So if you email me at 8 o'clock, I might not be able to get back to you until the next morning or the next evening. Is that okay? Perfect. So now we understand the audiences we're looking after. We're looking for business owners or full-time employees who have a side hustle. These could be anything ranging from chiropractors, personal trainers, magicians, everything across the board. Those are the people you're looking for. Step one. Step two is really making sure that you understand the principle of how to sell yourself when you're first starting. The way you sell yourself to a client when you're first starting to get freelance work. And this is different from an employer who would hire you as a React developer or something like that. So let me keep in mind, this is for somebody that you're going to do web services for as a client, meaning it's the end user, it's the it's the business owner, it's something like that. And this is just a website for their company. So the way you're going to sell this to that person is you first want to be very vulnerable. So when you're first starting, I don't think it's a good idea to fake it till you make it. In fact, I think the best thing that you can do is to show them that, you are new and you're at risk. And what you want to do is build hope in it. You want to show them that they can trust you. And the way that you do that is being wildly vulnerable. All right, Steve, I'm going to be upfront here, right? I've been working through this program for the past probably about 4 months. And I've become extremely good with HTML and CSS. And you could see it from these projects here. So this is what I want to do. You're going to be one of my first clients that I take on. So I understand that might be a risk for you. So this is what I want to do. I want to charge you nothing up front. Nothing. And in return, if this goes well, this is what I want to do. At the end of the project, you say thumbs up and I clearly deliver exactly what you asked for. Our communication is great. You loved working with me. I'm going to ask for 2 things. Number 1 is a $250 fee for knocking that out for you. I'm not even going to charge by the hour because I want to guarantee that you get what you want and I get an amazing testimonial on my plate, which is my second ask. If I do a good job for you, all I want to ask is that you're willing to create a video or write a testimonial about me, because this would be a very big role for helping my career. And I know that that's a lot to ask for you, but what I can promise you is I will do everything I can possible to do the best work on your website and to help your business grow. Is that something you would be interested in? And by saying that, hey, I don't need anything up front and that I'm willing to wait to get my returns until this is over with, and that you really want a testimonial to show that you could do great work with them. By doing those 2 things, it shows a little bit of trust. It shows that, okay, this person's willing to sacrifice. This person's willing to do X, Y, Z. All of the best hires I've made for Devslopes, almost all of them, started off at contract work where they were underpaid, and they proved that they actually wanted to be here for the company. And now they're getting severely overpaid, right? They're being paid above their value because I trust them so much. I see them as key long-term employees in the company. That's how you really determine your factor and your unique selling point in getting yourself your first handful of projects. That's the coolest thing in the world. So for those of you sitting here, maybe you've completed through Module 5, you know HTML and CSS, you're playing with JavaScript and building some actual reactive websites. This is where life starts getting interesting, and this is what you need to do. But it's really important you understand the tactical guide. The strategy here is to create your own luck. And the way that you do that is by tactically every single day looking for every opportunity you can find. Every single one. So the way you're going to do that, going to Upwork, right? When you go to the restroom, you're going to grab your phone here. I'm going to open up Upwork and I'm going to scroll through. So I'm going to type in Upwork right now on my phone. I might take a moment just to log in here. Log in. Continue with Google. Let me log in here. Give me one moment. Bicycles. Okay, so it's not working for me for some reason. I'm going to go to the website then. So we're going to upwork.com. I'm clicking on it. Then we're going to go to search. We're going to type in projects. We're going to type in we're going to type in HTML. Actually, let's type in WordPress. We're going to type in WordPress. So I just typed in WordPress right here. And we have to look for find work, my fault. Boom. So I'm scrolling down and I find right here, personal trainer, WordPress website, need help. Specifically, need ability for form on page for clients to submit interests. Okay, so what that would happen is, and this is pretty frequent, people will make job postings on Upwork and it's really vague. You have to understand is your job as a freelancer, people aren't going to want to write out long bios or descriptions of what they need. And part of the reasons for that is because they may not know what they need. They just know that their website isn't where it needs to go and they need additional help. So for yourself, that's all you're going to do. You're going to say, hey, Steve, I saw that you're looking for someone to come in and help with your WordPress website. Love that. I can help. It seems like you might need a little bit of help with the directions you're looking at going. So this is what I'd love to do. I made a video right here that I attached to below, walking through a handful of personal training websites that I loved. I think are really practical. You might find these helpful and I can help build a website like this for you. If you're interested in speaking with me, click the link below and schedule a call with me right now. There's a couple benefits to this. Number one, you want to get them off Upwork into your calendar as soon as possible. So what we're going to use is a software like Calendly, where they have the ability to schedule with you directly. There's two benefits of this. You're going to get their first name, their last name, their email, and their cell number. That's the biggest factor. The moment they book that call, you're going to grab that number, send them a message. Hey, Steve, this is Nathan. Just got your calendar request for us to meet Thursday at 4 p.m. Super excited to speak with you. If there's any information you could send over between now and then that could help me prep, I'd love to have that. For example, if you have a current website, please send that over. Perfect. And then you can also say, hey, in addition, if you have any ideas of what you want built, please feel free to send over. If not, we could talk later. What this does is you show up prepared, showing that, man, you care. You want to come in, you want to help them out, you want to do all these things. These are the things that show a level of professionalism that you have to learn through freelancing that prepares you for the real world. Because once you do all of these things, you start learning about the importance of being prepared. You start learning about the importance of understanding the needs of the other person at the other end of the table. Once you learn how to communicate like this, once you learn how to care and empathize about what people need, how to communicate with them under stress, once you learn how to communicate with them in the middle of a project to deliver something on time, and even more importantly, if you have to deliver something late, being able to do that professionally. Hey, Steve, ran into a small problem on my end. It looks like the project's going to be about 4 days behind. It seems like I want to make sure, is that a problem for you? And if so, please tell me if this gets in the way of anything. You want to make sure that if they have frustrations, let them voice it out, right? Listen to them. I heard a story yesterday from somebody that was selling to a client for clothing. A client walks in and said, hey, I saw that these pants came in. I swear that I said I wanted something else. Right, the pants came in. She was like, "Oh no, I'm pretty sure you said you wanted this." And he was like, "Listen, I think I said I wanted this because I remember sitting there saying I wanted these pants to look like this." And she abundantly said, "No, I think you're wrong. Right? I think it was this way." So they went back and forth, back and forth. Lo and behold, comes back like 3 or 4 days later, and they have it all out. This person could have easily taken this scenario and be like, "Man, it seems like you're really frustrated and that you actually wanted this to be done." Yeah, I did. Man, I'm really sorry that it looks like I may have missed that. Would it be ridiculous for you to keep the ones you have and potentially put in an order for those separate ones, since we obviously had some miscommunication and those still look great on you? Would that be ridiculous to ask? You're just being honest. Hey, I have no idea what to do here. It seems like I dropped the ball. I'm really sorry about that. Would it be ridiculous for me to ask for this circumstance to happen? Yeah, it would be. Man, I completely understand. Do you have a suggestion on a way that we can take care of this? Right? You're putting it in problem solving mode together. We're moving ourselves away from me versus you and us versus the problem. That's what the entire experience of freelancing is about. Learning how to collaborate with somebody in a productive manner to get where you need to go. That's everything, right? If you don't learn how to do that, you will have no chance in the workplace. This is just the brutal reality. You have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn how to code professionally. And quite frankly, you can't be who you are today and get a job. And this is a really painful thing for a lot of people to hear, right? For you to make the transition to who you need to become to get that job, a lot of core things are going to have to change. You might have to change the way you dress. Now, you might sit here and think that's bullshit. Why should I have to change the way you dress? Some of you dress like bums, and that's okay. But we need to make that change. Your appearance matters. Now, software engineering is a very relaxed world, right? Marketing is a pretty relaxed world. Sales is a little bit different. You need to present yourself very well because you're going to be speaking to people. But when you show up and you're unshaved, your pants look a little dirty, your shirt is just like a random branded shirt that you're wearing, you're not wearing anything nice, and you don't present yourself like you care, why should they care about you if you don't look like you care about yourself, right? Unfortunately, I doubt you're going to be one of the top 1% individuals that's a developer and can walk in anywhere, smell horrifically, and they'll hire him on the spot for $800,000. Right? That's a very few select amount of people. So for you to be able to make this job, it's important that you take everything that I'm saying, this mastery mindset, this ability to learn how to communicate, taking yourself seriously from how you present yourself. All of these things make up what an employer is actually looking for. And when you look at the developers that earn a decent amount of money, right, 75, 90, even $100,000+, the reason why they get those jobs is because all those things are in line. They're trustworthy, they're stable, and they seem reliable. That's what matters. If there isn't a perfect example of this any more than what I'm about to say, look at all the people who got laid off from like Google and Facebook and Apple and all these companies who played the part. They looked the part. They probably got hired because they presented themselves exceptionally well. They had the baseline skills. Their skills probably weren't that great. And they were the ones making TikToks about a day in the life of a Google developer, right? I show up to work at 10 o'clock every single day. I get my special smoothie. I go sleep in the nap pod for an hour. I then go to yoga. And then finally, I finish my day out with giving an update and maybe writing about 15 minutes of code, right? What in the world? What is happening here? That's your competition realistically. If you could be the guy or the girl that has these skills, you have the communication skills, you present yourself well, you are good. Employers need people like you. They want the people who have the absolute drive. Like they didn't have the perfect parents growing up. They didn't have the perfect life. They didn't have the perfect any of these things. But what they need more than anything else is someone who's hungry. If you show up to a job hungry and you're a doer and you're somebody that gets things done, right? This is something I've noticed as a fun fact just for developers. I've noticed there's a big difference between developers and, like, for example, salespeople. Developers get to-do lists and do them immediately, right? They're very matter-of-factish when they do everything. That is a requirement if you want to go into the software engineering world. So when I sit here and say, hey, if you are watching this right now, and you're in a JavaScript portion of a program and you've done very well with HTML and CSS and you're saying you want to get your first freelance project, if by tomorrow comes the next episode and you haven't gone out, created an Upwork profile and applied for a minimum of 1 to 5 projects, right, you're not a doer, right? And that's okay if you want to not be a doer and stay on the life that you're currently on. Jordan Peterson had a great quote about this. Most of people have jobs they absolutely hate. So the question is, what happens if they stay at that job for an extra 25 years? A little part of them will die, most likely. They'll stay the same person. They'll feel the exact same. Their emotional state will stay the exact same. Their finances will stay the exact same. The only difference is the good side of them is going to slowly erode away more and more and more. Just like if you had water dripping down on something over a prolonged period of time, it will eventually erode away the good things. You don't want to be that person. You cannot be the person who reaches their 50s and 60s and has no good retirement plan because you never had the chance to earn enough money to create good opportunities for yourself. This is the world that we're going into, and it's crucial that we do everything we can to stay proactive in creating the steps we need to get a better life for ourselves, a better life for our family, and to provide opportunities for the communities that we are in. Guys, that is it for today's episode. We went all over the place, but I hope the key points here more than anything else is how to put in that first 250 hours, schedule it out, and how to go get your first freelance project. We talked about who is the ideal client, how to find them, how to submit a proposal to reach out to them, how to sell to them, and how to close them. We talked about all of those things today. Please go implement on it. This is exactly what you need to have success. If you have any questions, don't forget to email me, nathan@devslopes.com, or message me on Discord if you're within the program. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.